All right, we're going.
We are alive and in person.
How are you?
I'm busy but good.
Busy but
Which is,
good. Yeah, that's
well,
yeah.
usually my answer. Although now that I think about it, neither of those are always necessarily true things, but it's just sort of a good stock answer.
Yeah, it really is. Like, it's like, how you doing? Fine. Pretty busy. And there's a
Some days I'm not busy, and some days I'm actually pretty terrible. So,
yeah.
but most people aren't
Usually,
actually interested in a whole conversation about that. So,
yeah, because like it's real. I'm fine, and like I'm about to blow my brains out from boredom and the mundane drudgeries of life. Is that okay? How are you? Thanks for asking. Nobody wants to hear that.
that
Or
reminds me
maybe
of what's that really long? There's a clip of like Norm Macdonald on Conan O'Brien or whatever, where he tells a super long story. I'll have to find it and send it. It's really funny because he's like, the whole point was that like he was in a cab, and this is like it's TV where you got to keep things snappy. And he's like, yeah, I was in a cab, and the cab driver's telling me this joke, and he's like, oh, it was a bird, and he goes into a doctor and he says, doctor, I don't feel great. The doctor's like, what's wrong? He's like, well, I just feel like like crushed by like the weight of like existing, and like my family they don't like me, and my wife is distant, and when I was in school, I just know the kids never really played with me. Conan's like, how long is this cab ride anyway? The whole point was that like there was never going to be a satisfactory and it gets to the I don't even remember what the punchline was. It was something so stupid that only worked because Norm Macdonald did it. And it was
I think I know what you're talking about.
it's really
I
funny.
think I've seen that, and that right there is probably the longest intro we've ever had.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. So now that I've seen your studio space, I find it odd just to think about how uncomfortably large my head must be on your monitor.
No, I don't have it like full screen.
Oh, okay. So you can have just like a normal size dish monitor size picture.
Yeah,
on
I
your
just take the
giant-ass
browser
screen.
window and make it about like this
Shrink it
big.
down.
Because if I maximize it, for
The
example,
lighting would be really bad, wouldn't it? Like it would. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It brightens
if
your
I
face
do
up
this,
crazy.
then it messes up my eye lines. Because then if I want to look at you, it looks like I'm looking over there. But
Yeah.
then if I look at myself, I'm over like right. So what I do is I make it small enough so that both of our pictures are like on right here,
That's
so
pretty
that really,
funny. Yeah, yeah.
so that I'm always looking ahead.
Oh, that's good. That makes total sense. I
Yeah.
feel less weird about it. But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I always imagine like people have this idea that they can like video conference, like they're at NORAD or something.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I've been setting up these conference rooms for some of these offices, and they're like, can we put a webcam up on the TV?" I'm like, yeah, but like there's no wireless webcam. You'd have to run a USB cable. It's a whole. People think they can just sit in a boardroom like this and be like, "Get NBC on the phone," and there's just what I mean, like they're calling Doctor Evil or something, but it's not quite there yet with regular.
Yeah, it's like Flea popping up on the wall and talking to Marty McFly in the future. Maybe that's a
Yeah.
little different. I mean, it's right there in the hallway, so that works.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, so well, geez. I had something I wanted to talk about. We can talk about that later or whenever, but are you tired of like the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock memes yet? I feel like the saturation on this is
every
gone
time
pretty
I
hard.
think that I'm tired of them, I see another one that's funny.
That's
So,
true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the internet is a bottomless well of hilarity and awfulness. But
Yeah.
some are pretty good. I saw a few ones that are particularly harsh, but whatever, man. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not gonna rehash them, but some of them were pretty bad. And admittedly, I don't know the whole story behind Will Smith and his wife, but it doesn't sound great. But whatever.
Yeah, I was the best analysis I heard of it was Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL dude.
Oh yeah.
And he was talking about it, and he was like just going through like he's like clearly mistakes were made on all sides. Like there's no. It was just really. I might send it to you because like he was breaking down like, all right, like Chris Rock. He it's almost like if you go to the zoo and there's no fences and you start messing with the animals, you'd probably be fine. But like sooner or later, one of them's gonna like, you know what I mean? So like you
Yeah.
take that risk every time you get on stage as a comedian, right? So
Yeah.
it was maybe naive to think that like, oh, we're on national television, like I can just say whatever I want, nothing's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
you're dealing with a room full of narcissists, right? So
This is very true.
it's only a matter of time till you happen to catch somebody who's having a bad year, you know.
He was up for best actor.
Yeah. And he won 5 minutes later.
Yeah, that is a really weird dynamic. So like, yeah, to have all the good that was very strange.
That would have been hilarious. That's like if James Cameron wins for like Titanic, but then like 3 minutes earlier, and he's like, the Jews control all the money.
A real Mel Gibson moment there. Yeah, yeah. Well, like I thought I again, my knowledge of their relationship is very minimal. I like from all the previous Will Smith memes, I assumed they were like divorced. I didn't think they were together because like I knew there was like a
That relationship is as open-handed as that slap was.
right. That's fair. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to speculate here, but either way, it's all very strange. But I literally went to bed like not making a joke about the Oscars. I was like, I care so little about this. I don't even want to pretend to joke and talk about it. And like the next day, it's all everybody's talking about. Just,
Yeah.
Okay. But that's just me. I've never watched the Oscars. I've actually just never ever cared. But I know people that do.
I remember the last time I think I watched one live, maybe when I was hoping that Jurassic Park would win some stuff. Like that was about it. And then like ever since then, it's like, 4 hours of a bunch of stuff I don't care about, But
Yeah.
I used to back when I was like more of a film nerd, I would like care. But like, I really hope that Hans Zimmer wins best score this year. You know what I mean? But which that happened again this year. But whatever.
I mean, they do legit have, or like they've made new rules where like next year's nominees have to have like literally a percentage of like minority stuff and like percentage of LGBT and like underrepresented groups. Like those movies, if they don't have them, will not be nominated. Which just seems like a preposterous standard.
Yeah,
to make,
that's
but I'm not in charge of.
maybe. What if they
shitty
made like a
movies.
separate category, and then they have their own. Maybe they have their own like water fountains, over here and over here, and like different separate
Yeah,
restrooms
exactly.
and stuff. Just complete
Right.
the separation.
Yeah, exactly. That would totally do it. That's how you defeat racism, bigotry, and segregation by
Fight
being
fire
racist,
with
bigoted
fire.
against. No, that's true. There you go. That's really not a bad way to think about it. Well, all right. The nominee for coolest
Yeah.
whatever. I don't
But
know.
it was interesting. Like one of the things Jocko was talking about was how like Chris, like he was like analyzing all the body language. He's like, first thing you
I
gotta
have
do.
seen I have seen some of that. Yeah,
Some
go
of
ahead.
if somebody's walking up to you, you got to get in a defensive stance. You got to get your hands up, but like not like surrender, but like you know what I mean. So like Will should have never been able to close the distance between this guy. Is all I'm saying. I'm just like he's not a jujitsu master, man. He's been
Yeah,
just
he's not a special forces freaking animal who's probably murdered people with his hands. I don't mean murdered in like the murder. I just you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But like he's definitely murdered people on the mat. So like yeah, it is funny to see how many people are like, oh, it's totally staged, and here's my 10 reasons, and here's the lead up to it, and here's like all these frame by frame on how it's a fake thing, and like Chris Rock took the hit, and like I was just like, okay,
he handled it well.
Oh no, but yeah, but
I think he took
was
it like a G. He's just kind of like, all right, well, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to freak out and then really get my ass kicked because it's like,
yeah, or like I'm not gonna like go tackle him behind his legs as he goes down the stairs like into the pit again. That wouldn't work either.
yeah. As soon as he's walking back, they'd be like, motherfucker, and they just like,
Yeah.
jump out there.
Like just a real black comedian move, like a whole like stereotypical "What, motherfucker?" Like a Chris Rock voice.
Yeah, that's not us doing an impression of a black voice. That's us doing
No,
an impression
that's me
of Chris,
doing-
of specific person.
That's my crappy Chris Rock voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like people are just like, oh yeah, so obviously this is faked because like they needed publicity and all this stuff. I was like, yeah, so Will Smith just ruined his career just to make the freaking Academy Award.
He'll be
a little bit
fine.
No, you think? Probably, sure.
Yeah, he just won an Oscar. I mean,
He's gonna.
look, Roman Polanski still gets standing ovations at the Oscars,
This is true.
and he,
Yeah.
was a pedophile 50 years ago. So,
Harvey Weinstein was only unpopular because it had to be.
He got
everyone
caught.
Everyone knew what was going on, and they were good with it.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, not good with it, or maybe they were. I don't really know, but they tolerated it.
yeah, he'll be all right. because people, it's definitely a low vibrational moment. It's interesting seeing people's opinions. Like
Yeah.
everybody, like an event happens, and people think I have to have an opinion. I have to be on one side or the other. Like, how about you just look at it like, all right, yeah, it's a situation got out of hand and went wrong. Like there was mistakes on all sides here. Like
Yeah.
people are like, this is the kind of love you should have. And I'm
Oh
just like,
yeah.
really? I don't know about that because that's a guy who was driven to his breaking point by his relationship, but
Right.
because he can't express himself and take out his anger in the relationship because that would be wrong. So it's all pent up, right? And so he feels like he has to justify it to himself, like, no, my wife's so important to me. Blah, blah, blah. So anybody who even dares disrespect her, he has to, you know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah,
not a
and then
well-adjusted individual.
yeah, and then to do it in like on a public scale like that on national TV with millions of
Yeah,
people watching. I mean, it's crazy enough to do it in a room with like a couple thousand people watching. But like,
yeah.
that's definitely a breaking point in his head for sure, or his just soul. You know what I mean? Well, actually,
Yeah, I mean, if
I
it
mean,
had
I
been at
felt,
like the after party, nobody would have been like, whatever, people getting
yeah,
scraps.
maybe so. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the very public nature of it made it pretty shocking. So, but yeah, I felt bad for the dude. Like, he's obviously freaking out. Like, I don't feel bad for him because it's not like it's not his fault or he's not part of the whole crazy ass relationship him and his wife have. But like at that moment, you're just watching this guy break down and like, then you just in your mind, you're just like, there's a lot of people who are gonna relish this and freaking love it. And not we've been joking about it for like 10 minutes, which is still kind of the same thing. But it's you got to feel bad for him a little bit.
Oh,
But
I do. I mean, I've been
not obviously he's an asshole for what he did, but it's still
well, who hasn't lost their
like
mind temporarily at one point, right? Just
true.
most of us don't do it on national television, right? I've never
Yeah.
slapped anybody, but I've been in situations where I had so much going on, and where I'm just like that part of my brain is like, yeah, you know what? Go ahead and say that thing, see what happens. So.
Well, these chips lay. Let's throw that dice. See what happens
Yeah.
here.
So, he's just happened to be very visible and on national
Yeah.
television. And yeah, whatever. He'll be all right.
Right. Well, now we all know the what's the hair condition that she has? Sorry, I just drew a blank.
Alopecia.
Alopecia. Everyone now knows. Now everyone's an alopecia expert. Also, you
Yeah.
can't shame people for alopecia. Isn't that just the term for? Is that like a specific thing for women, or is that just going bald?
I think it's a specific reason for going bald.
It's a specific reason for going bald.
Right. Like you could just go bald, right? But alopecia
men
is a specific syndrome or condition that causes baldness.
do men suffer from that?
Don't know. I've already spoken more than I actually know about the subject. So there we
That
go.
was pretty good.
Talk to your doctor about alopecia.
Male pattern baldness and female pattern baldness is also called androgenic alopecia. So it's just baldness, which is just, again, I mean, obviously greatly more rare in women for sure.
Yeah.
But, whatever. Okay. It sucks. But hey, she's rocking
Remember
it.
Seinfeld had a bit back in the day where he was like, something about a nose job. It's like, the name for a nose job is rhinoplasty. Rhino, like really? Like, do we need to be insulting people? Like, it's like we don't tell if you're gonna get like a hair transplant. But it's like we're gonna do a cue ballectomy on your head over here. It's a very like sort of
Well,
cheap seats Jerry Seinfeld bit, but it was funny.
So yeah, no, but hey, still very funny. So in the Seinfeld vein, maybe here's what's going on. Will Smith, he had a real George Costanza moment. His wife's going bald. She wants to divorce him, and he's just like, I can't be divorced by a bald woman. He's talking to Chris Rock on the phone. He's like, she's bald, Chris. She's bald. So yeah. I don't know.
Plus, they're hemorrhaging money to Scientology, right? Isn't that also they're involved with those people too?
Well, see, I heard that as well. So I didn't know Will Smith was really dumb. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Within his speech, though, he was like, "Oh, love making do dumb things," and everybody cheered, and it was just like, well, I mean, he's Will Smith. He's like, he's pretty alpha male in Hollywood. I feel like he does. There's no reason for somebody at that level to stay in a relationship that makes them feel that bad.
Yeah, but I guess interpersonal, like people again, your status there, all that money, all that influence, all that fame. I mean, but still, what really matters is, and what can really kill you, is like your personal relationships, right? Like at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. and like I
Yeah.
don't know. So if your marriage is going to shit, your life's gonna suck. I mean, so
Yeah.
no matter who you are, I would expect. I mean, for most people, unless you're
Well,
a
except for
complete
Jeff
narcissistic
Bezos, he
mess,
bounced back pretty good.
he sure did.
He's going to space. He got ripped. He's got like a model
Yeah.
girlfriend. He's living the dream.
Yeah, he's got a penis rocket. Good for him. Good for him. Yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't have any psychological issues. He's like,
Yeah,
what are you talking about? Doing fine. I went to space in a penis rocket. That's normal, right?
Yeah. Look at my muscles, man. I'm bald, Q-tip, great. Yeah, those,
Yeah, I'm huge. I've been working out. I do 10 sets, 2 reps, or whatever it is.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You ever been to Mendy's?
That's a really good point, though. Yeah. So, I mean, oh my gosh, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. That's creepy. But then again, he must have. I think he finally took to the "I'm a billionaire, evil genius" thing because he took a while for that. He was just like
He's
did you
still
see,
dressed like he was an accountant for a while.
right, and like for
I mean,
the
Bill
longest
Gates
time,
still dresses that way.
yeah, Bill Gates is still always he's still got that nerd look. He's just got like the real power, like underhanded nerd look.
Yeah,
like
Bill Gates has like man boobs.
yeah, and as someone who's kind of got some man boobs, I feel for him. But I'm not walking around in those shirts and taking pictures with it. So all black.
Yeah,
So this is what it's for.
I don't know. There's a conspiracy theories. People talking about like how Bill Gates is like he's eating all this soy and like he's really unhealthy, and he's like, why is he giving all this health advice to the rest of the world? The guy does not look like somebody you'd want to emulate.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard a lot of people talk shit about that. Like, yeah, I'm getting my health and my vaccine information from the guy with like chicken leg wings and like a freaking muffin top. Yeah, the soy boy motif. That's funny, but whatever.
But what's funny about it is that like it just shows you how thin the veneer is of specifically Hollywood masculinity, right? Like somebody made the point, like if it was Joe Rogan up there on the stage making a joke,
Yeah,
you're not walking up there giving him a slap. You know what I mean?
No, you're not. That's not happening.
So
Yeah, that's true.
he knew that he could get away with it because he knew that Chris Rock is a very loud mouth, but not much else.
Yeah,
right?
I think Chris
But he
Rock
could
was
also-
all, like
but-
102 pounds wet or something like that.
Right, but if they start getting all right, but if they're now we're comparing each other like trash talk, like Chris has him. Will Smith is a pretty charismatic dude. I'm sure he can think on his feet,
Yeah,
but nobody's
I'm sure
faster than
Rock
Chris, right? So if they're just gonna be
No.
two guys on two mics like trash talking each other, he's gonna lose.
all day long.
It's like that. What was
Yeah.
they did that fight between what's his name, Irish guy. Was it It was Mayweather, Conor McGregor.
Yeah,
And everybody
I mean,
was arguing about it. Like, well, you can't compare skill sets. That's so stupid, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. He was a boxer and then MMA or whatever. But yeah, because I know all about that.
Yeah.
But
I'm really impressed I pulled those two names out of my
that was
head.
pretty good. Yeah, you beat me to it. I was thinking like so
hit him
there
with a
was-
rope and dope. It's a classic move.
like there's this little like you can watch the video again and like Chris Rock at some point as he's sitting down, he's just like okay, all right. Like he was gonna say something, and he's just like, no, I better not say anything else. Like I'm sure that was his first reaction was
Yeah.
just to like start talking shit.
He's like, you know
immediately.
what? And he's like,
And then get the crowd going, man. 'cause,
everybody in the like production booth is like, we're gonna need to
Yeah.
bleep some stuff.
like, lots of bleeps. Yeah.
Do we have a guy in the wings with like a big hook that can just be like?
Hey, we got a comment. Okay, offshore trucker, Gulf of Mexico. Yo, Dave, what's up? Can Daddy get a shout out? Hi, hey, shout out to offshore trucker, Gulf of Mex, which I think I know who that is because he changes his name all the time. I'm drinking a little bit of Four Roses is what I got going on since he's asking. Dan, what are you drinking? Since he didn't ask, I'll ask you.
Evan Williams small batch,
Very nice.
which is what I drink when I'm alone.
You drinking offshore trucker, if anything. Woohoo.
Some sort of weird like offshore oil rig moonshine they make on the plant.
Yeah, it's like the stuff that
It's made from
The guys-
crude oil and Lysol.
it's whatever they drink on the Nebuchadnezzar in the Matrix. Oh, he's working, so he can't. He's working. That's fair.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, I know who this is, and I would say his name, but he's got a fake name, so I'm not going to say it. All right, so my idea was to riff on how crazy fucking Joe Biden is, and dangerously inept and scary to have a 85-year-old person on the world stage talking in front of people when they're on the brink of like a nuclear war. So
Yeah, that's a problem.
do you remember? Oh, hang tight. We drink leaded water on the ship. Okay.
It's good for the bones.
It is. Do you remember, or did you read any stories where, like, everybody was freaking out about Donald Trump, being on the world stage, and he would like pop off in the mouth, and especially with like North Korea, they're like, he's going to get us into a nuclear war with North Korea by like tweeting shit at.
I mean, I was afraid of. I remember thinking that exact sentiment in like 2015.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't trust this guy to like not say something and get us into a war. Like, I mean, that was legitimate fear.
Yeah, that's fair. So then, like, people were floating this idea of like the 25th Amendment. So like the 25th Amendment has a couple different articles, and it's like basically like when the president's incapacitated, the vice president's in charge, and it goes down to like the Speaker of the House. So that whole progression thing.
Correct.
And then the fourth article about it is basically if the president is incapacitated, literally the majority of the chief of staff can go, or
The majority of the cabinet.
Yeah, majority of the cabinet.
I only know that because remember in Air Force One when there was the whole subplot where Harrison Ford's on the plane and they're trying to like I forget what they need to like release the Russian dude, and so the guy from Quantum Leap is like who's like the Speaker of the House or something. He's trying to like get a bunch of signatures, and they're trying to declare him mentally incapable because he's under emotional duress because his family's captured and stuff, and then at the end after he kicks Gary Oldman off the plane, he goes like. And they tear up the piece of paper with the signature. It's supposed to be like, "Hey, this is all fine," and then nobody thinks that like
that's
Monday morning he's gonna find out that everybody tried to remove him from office. He'd be like, "What?
What the hell?
You're all fired."
That's funny. I gotta check that movie out again. I haven't seen that in forever. But yeah, so then so they can sign. That
most of my knowledge of American government comes from '90s thriller movies. So
yeah, and like
Aaron Sorkin,
Clancy stuff.
Yeah,
it all makes sense. Oh, I watched a clip. This is only related tangentially. I watched a clip of damn it, what's the movie? I just watched the stupid clip where the guy's riding the bomb going down.
Oh, Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove. And like the jet fighter pilot is
wow, James Earl Jones.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you can finish all my sentences.
It's a great movie.
I was like, wow, that's James Earl Jones. I was like, that's cool. I gotta watch this whole movie. I don't know why I was watching that clip. I saw something that just made me think of it.
His name is Kong in that movie.
The guy who rides the bomb, right?
No, I think James Earl Jones' name is Kong. I don't know.
Oh, really?
They thought it would be funny.
That seems slightly racist, but that's okay.
Well, that movie's loaded with weird symbolism.
Yeah.
Like there's the whole phallic symbolism of him riding this giant rocket down to the ground. And then like George C. Scott's character, the general dude, his name is like General Turgidson. And so like the president's name is like Mervyn Muffley or something like that. There's all this sort of weird, it's a weird commentary on like the testosterone, like dick compensation aspect of like warmongering and stuff like that. And how they're like, we can't accept these losses, be a nuclear war. And then Dr. Strangelove comes in, he's like, well, actually, we would have to repopulate the species. We would need at least 10 females to 1 man or whatever. And then he's like, so what you're saying is it would require significant commitment on our part, and the monogamous relationships are out. So all of a sudden they all turn around. They're like, yeah, we could do this. This sounds great. Yeah. So
I feel like there's been many Futurama jokes based on that because like
yes, it was a very forward-thinking movie in 1960.
Gotcha. That's funny. All right. Well, back to the 25th Amendment. So whatever. Yeah. So the majority of the cabinet can write a letter to the Speaker of the House and the pro-temperate of whatever, and then like say, hey, he's unfit, he's out of his mind mentally or incapacitated physically. So therefore, he needs to be released from his office. And there's like 30 days for the president to respond. All sorts of crap. But whatever. That's all a thing. But like, I don't think I've ever heard it aside from Air Force One until Donald Trump came up. And now it's kind of floating around again with Joe Biden. But like, legitimately though, this past, go ahead.
They talked about it when Reagan was shot.
Okay, well okay, or that makes sense. And I think also,
well, I mean, it's understandable for like a medical condition.
Right, right.
Somebody goes in for like a hernia operation or something like that. And you're like, all right, just technically so that we know for the next 6 hours he's going to be under medication. So the vice president,
I guess what I'm saying is proactively using the 4th article to remove a president. Not right. And like technically Kamala Harris has been president like twice already because like they cede power to him like when Joe Biden was like under like a anesthesia or something like that for a small procedure. You know what I mean? They technically do that. So technically whatever they do that kind of stuff because of this. But yeah, I just meant like as a proactive measure to find someone who's mentally incompetent or unable to fulfill their duties and go, we need to get him out of here. So
Yeah.
it's now come up with 2 presidents in a row.
That's it would be interesting to see what kind of event would have to happen for somebody to do that, for them to turn on their own.
Yeah, for to them to turn on your own. Yes, I mean, I would argue, just look at this though, with Joe Biden stuff in the last couple of weeks, or like just last straight up week, while he's in like Poland, he did say to like the some airborne division, who's like, hey, well, you'll know what happens when you get over there.
When you get there and you see a guy throwing a rock at a tank, and everybody's like, "Oh, what do you mean by there?"
Yeah,
he's like, "Well, I mean, Poland. I mean, in Poland, it's like there's no tanks in Poland, sir."
Right, exactly. So the White House had to walk that back, and then like the whole thing where he was just like, if there's the questions like, well, what if Vladimir Putin uses chemical weapons? He's like, well, we'll respond in kind, and everyone's just like, we'll use chemical weapons? Is that
what?
What?
That's not what because he's like, no, it means it'll be severe.
No, they'll be we'll respond with force later. You know, it was like, well, that's not.
Well, what is that going to be? He's like, I'm not going to tell you that, and he thinks he's like owning the reporter. It's like, no, you're the one who said a phrase that you don't understand how it works.
Yeah, let's talk about that in a second. And then the next one, then the last one he said was, for God's sake, this man can't be in power. Like at the end of his speech. So everyone's like, okay. Oh, so yeah, right. The
president calls for regime change.
I mean, rhetorically, yeah. But then here's what's crazy. So aside from those, either he meant what he said, and that's bad enough, and then everyone agrees with it, but he didn't mean what he said, or he did mean what he said, and his cabinet is going, oh fuck no, that's not what he meant. We can't let that out there. So this guy is either saying things that are inflammatory, and he's got his staff and the people behind him are going, that's not what he meant, that's crazy, or he's literally saying things that are he's crazy, and he's just saying shit, and they know that's bad. And they're still back. They have to go backtrack. It's
the political equivalent of standing up in front of the Oscars and insulting a person's wife who's right in front of you. Maybe so. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, maybe this is a time where you should be very careful with what you say.
Right. So, excuse me. So,
see, it's all tying together.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, I don't know if it's enough to be like, oh, he's just popping off at the mouth, and that's a reason to take a president out. I mean, that's probably not the case, but
no, I don't think. As much as I dislike Joe Biden, I don't like the idea of like, well, he just said some stuff we don't like, so we're voting him out, and we're just having administrative coup is basically what that would be. I don't like setting that precedent.
No, okay, fair enough. But if he's saying things because he's he can't keep his words in, right? But like, if he's saying crazy shit on the world stage and then is like antagonizing people, and like you as the government, we have to go, that's not what our president meant. By the way, sorry, you know what I mean? That's a weird take, because I'm sure that happened with Trump too to some degree, but also Donald Trump also would just be like, nah, fuck that. That's kind of what I meant. But
I don't know. He needs a crowd, is what he needs.
That's true. That's true. But yeah,
he's probably a lot more reasonable, like behind closed doors where there's nobody to like play to.
You think Trump is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the case.
My guess is. Twitter, he's got an audience. When he's in front of the press corps, he's got a hostile crowd.
Right.
So he likes that. You
just butter him up some KFC and some Diet Cokes, man. And he's just like, all right, yeah, let's talk. We're sitting down. We're friends. But yeah, I'm assuming you saw the Peter Doocy questioning, because you said, it's like, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So he went through all those 3 things, and like Joe Biden's like, I didn't say any of those. Said none of those things said. He's like, you took my words and interpreted it that way. And he's just like, well, I mean, but for the in kind thing, he's like, well, he did say the words, I'll respond in kind. So like, what does that mean? And you're just like, yeah, we're gonna use force, or we'll respond as we need. He's like, well, what kind of response would you? He's like, I'm not gonna tell you. No. None of your business. None of your beeswax. It was like,
if I tell you the Russian, it's like,
yeah. I guess it was just hilarious. He was like, I'm not going to tell you. I was like, okay, man. Just but we're trying to elaborate on what you said, and what does that mean?
Jen Psaki's like sitting over there in the wings, just like pouring a drink. Like, oh god.
She's like, I'm calling in sick this week. I got COVID, guys. I got 10 days.
I lost my voice. I can't speak. Yeah.
I don't know. It just struck me as a particularly crazy week.
Here's a conspiracy theory. What they would do, I think before they did that, what they would do is to save face. Like if it got to that point, what they would do is they would all secretly sign it, and then he would have a medical condition where he's in the hospital, And then he's like, Joe Biden has experienced a pulmonary something of the whatever. And then that way he gets to save face and not be removed from office. And he's like, we just like to thank Kamala Harris for being heroically stepping up and being brave. And then that's how they save face.
Yeah, I would imagine that's how. Yeah, it would never go down as like a coup, for sure, or
Right.
a constitutional legwork kind of coup thing.
Unless they could figure out a way. Well, if it was somebody smarter than Kamala Harris. Because I don't think she would not be. I don't think she's smart enough to execute some sort of plan like that.
No.
She's ambitious enough. She would like to, but I don't think she has the ability or the support.
But also by default, though, if you go through this this article there, it falls on her shoulders to then become the president. And I think the majority of people in government have now seen what the hell's going on in Kamala Harris's head, and they're just like, no, that's actually worse. That might be worse.
She's more. She in her right mind is more of a liability than Joe Biden in whatever mind he's in.
Yeah,
in terms of like, she might say something and then just start laughing hysterically. You know?
Or she just talks in inanities, like just phrases that repeat themselves. And
could you imagine her like sitting down with like Vladimir Putin?
No.
You know, he's like, we want you to remove all troops from Poland, from the Ukraine and the former Kazakhstan. She's like, well, you know, we're not even have troops in there. It's just like,
well, listen,
we're going to handle it the way we handled it.
If we're talking about removing troops, so what we'll do is we'll take troops and they'll be removed. Now, removing troops means you take a troop and you move it with the re. So they're
enough. We go.
The troops. We march to sea. We take Europe. Smoke bomb. Yeah, no, she's the worst. So like, I mean, that's what happens when you get diversity hires. That's a bad bad thing to happen. So I don't know. It's a fun thing to argue. I don't think it would legit happen, but I mean, that was the whole speculation. You're like, this dude is so freaking old, and it was already like showing mental decline during the primaries and stuff. So whatever, man. This is what happens when we hire freaking 80-year-olds to run the free world. It's not great.
Yeah,
it's not great, and it's an apt analogy, and I feel bad for this because it's not people's fault. But like, once you get up to 80 and your reflexes suck and your mind starts slipping, like you're not allowed to drive. Your kids start making financial decisions for you. And you're like, I gotta let this guy freaking run the world, man. Like, make the most important decisions on the planet, and he can barely speak. There's like maybe this is a thing that public speakers do. I don't know. He's literally got cue cards to answer questions like that are anticipated for his freaking press conferences or stuff like that.
I'm gonna let him have those. I feel like
you think
if it was me, I would want to have cue cards. I mean, I would before I got to the point where I trusted myself to go off script. But like, I like the idea of like, if in a pinch, if I blanked, I'll go, okay, I can just read that, and that's an appropriate answer that we've thought about. You know what I mean?
You gotta shuffle through your card here. I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
It's like,
yeah,
sir, did you enjoy your breakfast this morning? It's like,
weak coffee and toast.
No more questions.
I don't know, man. It feels like if you're okay, I just feel like the president shouldn't have to do that. Am I crazy? I don't know.
Shouldn't have to do what?
Like, shouldn't have to have cue cards to answer tough questions.
Oh, right. No, ideally, all this stuff is just up here.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying that like again, I am not presidential material. I wouldn't want to be up there answering those questions either. But
no,
if I'm taking that job, I know what I'm getting into, and I better be able to do it. So I don't know. That's just those are my.
It really makes you wonder. This thing. Like, I'm not the smartest person in the world, and I have many documented examples of incredibly poor judgment. But I like to think like some of the, especially I remember thinking this a lot with Trump. And I'm just like, who in the world thinks that's a good idea?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like even if you just had like a couple of more layers of filters, like, you know, like don't even hire me. Just have me as a dude. Be like, hey, can we post this? I'd be like, yeah, no, that's a no for me.
Yeah,
have like a little panel or something. You know, maybe.
Jeez. That's why. Yeah, I wish there was back in my day, or maybe even now, because I don't really post that much on social media. I'd be like, there's a post button, and then like 30 minutes later, you get an email that says, Read this again. Do you want to post it? It's not gone live yet. This is your last chance.
I think somebody did a
Go
meme
live.
about that. It was the little word paperclip.
No.
And it was like, hold up, looks like you're about to do something. The little paperclip glide.
Like that would be.
That's
just
what
a
this
great-
world needs. We need to bring him back.
It would be a good option to have. Like I'm not saying it has to be on everybody's thing. You have to wait 30 minutes. But if you're just like, I know myself, I'm gonna post something,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to have a 30 minute.
I think they made a joke about Netflix
delay.
doing that too, where like, Netflix would be like, based on your relationship status change, you cannot handle watching this movie at 10 p.m. It's like, nope, it's definitely too late to start a horror movie. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I mean, yeah, it's a little too maybe social credit scory and weird, but like that might happen at some point. But I would utilize some of that, I think. But it's funny, like you're talking about or just thinking about that with Trump. Like I remember I was down in Atlanta for work, and I was in like we stayed at the hotel that's like butted up to the CNN building. So I was going down to like the little food court to get a coffee in the morning, giant screen. And it was like right after the first Republican primary debate. And like, it was all like Donald Trump hate coverage. I was just like, dude, this guy's kicking everybody's ass. He just blew everybody away. I was like, and like all the commentators were like, what a buffoon. This is crazy. I was like, people love this guy. They love this guy I was like, this guy's going to be the freaking, I just thought he's going to be the nominee for the Republicans. I didn't think he'd be president, but I was like, oh, he's going to be the Republican guy. This is nuts. And
Yeah, that's a problem of a whole different, like.
Well, it's the same problem because we're talking about like a weird, cognitive kind of guy. Like, and I see why people made this argument with Trump, which is like, oh, he's freaking nuts. He's like he's not a politician. It's not.
He's a different kind of
nut.
he's a different kind of nuts than Biden is. Biden's just not there, right? But Trump was.
Yeah.
Well, I think Trump proved to be less impulsive on the decision making stage than everybody anticipated. Most people, their actions, if there's an unpredictability quotient for like most people follow through with what they say, like it's reflected somehow in what they do, right?
I'll grant you that.
But every once in a while, you'll get a person who just like is really just a lot of talk, but then when it comes down to brass tacks, they're actually a lot less insane.
Yes.
And I think that was what people assumed that what Trump was saying was what he was going to do, and that his tendency to just sort of fly off the handle and say ridiculous crap was going to translate into policy, but it didn't as much as people feared.
That's probably true. And like you had the impression, because he would obviously speak quickly and sharply, and he's known for you're fired, like, that whole thing, like an instantaneous moment decision and someone's off the show. He was just like, all right, so he's going to be decisive. He's going to make decisions. He's going to move the needle, and very little needleage was moved.
Well, the main exception to this being the whole election thing. Right, because that's part of the thing that infuriated me about the whole election problem, was that it's like for 40 years,
or 2020,
right at the end,
Yeah.
he went off the rails, and that really annoyed me because it's like for 4 years, the press looked like the bad guy.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, fair enough.
everybody-
Yeah,
like,
I see what you're
all
saying.
these people making up crap, the Russia, all this kind of stuff, and they did 2 impeachments that didn't hold water, and all of this crap that they would say about him. It's like there's enough real things to criticize the man about. Why are you making crap up?
Yeah.
You're only making yourself look stupid, and you're giving all of his supporters and like super fans ammunition to just ignore all of the legitimate criticisms that we have of the man. And then it's
Yeah.
like he could have gone out and been like, okay, well, all right, you guys got what you
Yeah,
want.
lost.
See how that goes. I'll be waiting. He could have taken it like a man, but instead he had to be like, whoa, and
That's
like,
true.
He's not. I don't think he was stupid enough to like really. The evidence just wasn't there. So
Yeah.
the problem is, and then right at the end, and then of course he should have known that the press was too stupid to not connect him directly to January 6th and all this kind of stuff. So it's like he just right at the end he became the villain that they had always thought he was. And it was going to prove it to the wrong people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
That's fair.
that's what really annoyed me. Like he finally became the villain because up till that point they were the ones who were the liars.
Yeah, he could have just limped across the finish line as a loser and lived the fight another day, maybe. But he tripped all over himself and shit his pants and his last.
And if he's
quarter
not
mile,
if he's not careful, he's going to make things much worse. If he tries to run in 2024, that's a big problem.
Oh, he's definitely running in 2024. I don't see. I think he's. There's no way he's not. But
I really think that's a huge mistake.
You think so?
Both for himself and for the
him?
country. Well, because I don't consider myself a Republican, but like whoever ends up getting the Republican nominee other than him, it's got to be better than a second Joe Biden term or a Kamala Harris term, right? So
Yeah.
I don't want more Biden. I don't want Harris. And so, but what's going to happen is if Trump shows up and turns the whole thing into a circus, I don't like that.
Well, yeah. Well, there's no question. Not even if he turns, it will be a circus. There's no chance in hell it wouldn't be a circus. It'll give
it's always a circus.
It'll give. Yeah, it is always a circus, but it'll give the media, the five media corporations everything they want. It will be blown up into a freaking frenzy if Donald Trump. I mean, it'll be a frenzy anyway, like you said, but it'll just instantly revert back to like battered spouse syndrome or something.
Right.
Like all this horrible shit comes up and they go Will Smith on everybody and go out and just smacking everybody on the stage. So like, yeah, for sure. That would be, I mean, I really don't care.
I mean, at this point, I think Ron DeSantis has the best shot of anybody because he's a typical Republican, but he does have a pretty compelling track record for issues that regular people.
And he's a pretty hard ass on the stuff he stands on too.
I mean, the COVID stuff is huge, right? I mean, there was like Florida standing alone against the whole rest of the nation, and it's like the proof is in the pudding, and you have to be really deluded to like be one of these like Death Santis kind of people. Like, I don't like listening to him talk. I don't like the way his voice sounds. He sounds like a polished politician, and that kind of just like annoys me. And
he
grates
does
on me.
the Trump hands because he does that the same way.
Yeah, if he would just talk like a regular human being. And just like
a lot to ask for with a politician, a lizard person. I mean, when you're impersonating a person, it's hard. It's hard.
Like,
it's like
I just
a
would
British
it kill
dude
one
to
of
have
these
a good
people?
American accent.
Yeah, the people who feel like genuine, they never would get elected, right? It's like, would it kill somebody to just walk up there and be like, "Hey, look, you guys who don't want to vote for me, like, I understand that. Look, we have different opinions, and okay, like, just because I disagree with you doesn't mean I don't care about you and I don't want you to be happy and to pursue the American dream here. All right, we're just differing on like how to structure stuff. So I hope that we like nobody ever gives that sort of graciousness. No. Like maybe that would just get totally destroyed. But like I like to think like if I had to think of like the happy ending version of the movie, and it's like if somebody would just get up there and talk like that, then millions of Americans would be like, "Oh yeah, that's what we've been missing." It's just somebody being genuine.
I rescind my vow never to vote again. If you run and you give me that speech, I'm voting for you. You're good. I'm in.
I'm not going to do that.
I would advise you not to. I'm just saying.
As your friend, I think no. No, I wouldn't do that.
Could I be your press secretary? You would.
That would be funny.
You're doomed to fail from the beginning.
I would be your press secretary. Maybe that'd be a better.
Oh, that might be good. Yeah.
You get up there and be like, all right, look. So here's what. Actually, what Dave means is.
Fuck you guys. All right. Here's what I'm saying. So here's what Dave meant. He meant to say.
All right. When he said "you guys," let's unpack this for a second here.
He meant only white landowning males because he's a racist. But
he's a constitutional originalist.
That's right. I am. Yeah, I'm a conservative. I'm just trying to keep what the founding of the nation.
What the good Lord granted to us, white man, is what we should preserve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, whatever, dude. It's going to be a crazy thing. Well, it'll be crazy no matter what. So, I think he's probably going to run, but. Whatever, who cares? So like the January 6th thing, dude, that stuff still comes up. They're just like they're still looking for blood on him on that. I read a thing on I think it was on Drudge today to like something about like burner cell phones. So the article was John Bolton, his old national security advisor, heard Donald Trump say he didn't know what a burner phone was, and then at some point heard him mention that a burner phone in context that he understood. So therefore the article implies there was a burner phone that Donald Trump used during the 7 hours he didn't tweet during the insurrection. That's the whole article. It's like John Bolton heard him say something about a burner phone, and Donald Trump didn't tweet for 7 hours. We need to find that burner phone. Like John Bolton wasn't even in the government when that happened. Like it's a complete bullshit article. It's hilarious.
Mike Drudge
But
strikes me as like an X-Files character. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think he's actually part of the Drudge Report anymore. I think he's out. I think it's been
really?
sold.
I mean, I never really was a big Drudge Report fan, but like, I mean, the guy started out by working at Blockbuster and like dumpster diving for scoops. I mean,
This is true.
he's
I
a little
remember. I'm not going to say names. Whatever our history or social studies high school teacher was, had us watch some Drudge Report thing one
Oh,
time.
yeah?
Like he had a TV show. I'll say
That's
her name
funny.
offline.
I remember my mom used to
that was the
watch
first time I ever saw it.
Rush Limbaugh's show. He had a TV show with,
I remember him having a TV show. Yeah, it was like a studio audience kind of like thing,
yeah,
like a
it was
talk
really
show
dumb.
vibe. Yeah.
He was on at like 12:30 in the afternoon,
Oh man, I heard someone or I read something the other day. To like
firing
hey,
up all the unemployed conservatives who were sitting at home watching TV.
yeah, collecting their disability checks and calling James Sokoloff in the middle of the day. It was great.
James Sokolow, was that a personal injury? Like, who is that?
Yeah,
Name
like a
sounds-
personal injury. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, personal injury lawyer. I remember, dude. I got a thing from a personal injury lawyer on a guy from like a an injury at work kind of thing. Like he was going through like my workman's comp stuff, so like he was covered. Like, you know, my insurance covered him. He like hurt himself at work, and then I got like see he was going through that. He was actually still working for me, going through his like therapy and getting covered. And then I got a lawyer letter being like, oh, you're gonna have to give everything up. You know, you're gonna get sued from this from a personal injury lawyer. I was like, now I know why these commercials work, because it's been sitting at home all every day watching TV, and he got in his mind he can go find somebody. And then like I just gave it to my insurance carrier. They're like, yeah, this is bullshit. We'll take care of this. They're like, he's covered. Like there's no claim here. But like they'll just send letters off, and I'm sure they all get paid at some point. Like there are enough dumb people out there to pay them something. You know what I mean? Like you just send a letter to a company. It's like, oh, we want this amount of money. Blah blah blah. Like, oh shit, I better do this. I'm not gonna get a lawyer.
Well, yeah, that was like our scam we thought of the other day about like coming up with like
That's
a fake traffic light cam and just sending out blanket tickets to everybody, and you get a bunch of
You're gonna
idiots
get paid a
that'll
little
send
bit. Yeah, someone's gonna pay you, man. There's enough people out there just like, just close this thing out and pay it, dude. I had that like, or not that exactly, but close to it. Because like when you go up the East Coast now, right? Nobody runs a toll booth. Everything is just toll by mail. So they take your picture and they send you your bill in the mail, which they figured.
You're talking about like Interstate 95, like DC.
Yeah, or like
upwards.
and then you go to New York, you go over the bridges, or the Garden State Parkway, all that crap. Mass Pike and all that stuff. So like you don't pay a toll because like nobody's there to take it. And like the tolls are like for the highways are like $8, $10, $12, $14. So I started getting all these ones of the mails. We went to New Hampshire. So I went up and I came back down. And like I didn't get one of them because I moved or like my address had changed, and then I updated I missed one. And then like I got the late notice, which went from like this was an $8 toll, and now it's an $85 toll because you.
Oh yeah,
pay.
those are the worst.
I was just like, oh, come on, dude. So I was going to call and just be like, listen, I moved. I'm sorry. I'm here to pay it. I paid it late. And they're just like, oh, yeah, no, that's fine. We'll waive it. I was like, oh, thanks. No problem. But like, they would have been happy to take my $85. But like, I just called. And then one of them was like, oh, yeah, actually, there's an amnesty thing where we're not even charging those anymore. It's been that way for like 2 years. I was like, so why did you send the bill out? They're like, it's automatic. I was like, okay. So you will take the money. They're like, well, if you send it to us, yeah, I'll take the money.
But that was like I had a speeding ticket during the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And like court date, and then
we're in state or out of state?
Just in Durham.
In state. Okay.
I only ever get pulled over within 5 minutes of my house.
Oh,
I drive so much.
Hard,
I drive all over 4 or 5 states, and the only time I ever get pulled over is like right here. Mm-hmm. But anyway, like so, this lawyer guy that I've used, you pay him $100, he handles the whole thing. So you don't get any points or anything. But he was like, they'll probably just drop it because they're so afraid of COVID at the courthouse. They're just throwing out all the traffic tickets. I was like, oh, okay.
Really?
I wish I could have known that $100 ago. I could have just shown up.
Yeah. Well, $100 ain't much to get a ticket reduced. That's pretty good.
No, in the long run, I mean, I remember as a kid, I'd be like, I don't want to call a lawyer. That sounds expensive. But then I didn't understand the math of how insurance worked. And I was like, $100 is a drop in the bucket compared to what your insurance is going to be.
Well, I'm trying to remember back the last time I had to get a lawyer for a ticket in state. I thought it was more like $250 or something like that. or
Well,
maybe.
the fine and court. I mean that part.
Oh, but so like the whole bill is that.
So
So
what you end up say, yeah, right. So say you get a ticket and then you want the lawyer to handle it. So you're paying
right,
the ticket, the court cost plus $100 for the lawyer to do it.
that might have been the whole thing. Then I got you. Yeah, yeah.
So it's a racket because even if the thing gets, like there's no burden of proof. Don't even get me started on this. Like, a cop can just say, "Oh, I saw him do this," and then say they get the charge reduced to like $5, but the court costs are like $200, and they get that regardless. It's a bunch of junk.
My dad went through a thing. I think it was like where he was gonna run a red light. So instead of slamming on his brakes, he went through it, and then got pulled over. They're like, "You ran the red light." He's like, "I know I did." He's like, "But it turned. It's like a 45-mile-an-hour zone, and if I was gonna hit the brakes, man, I'm in a work truck. Just didn't seem safe, so I just went through it." They're like, "Well, here's your ticket." And he's just like, "Well, that's crazy. So whatever." He's like, "Well, you got a court date." He's like, "Oh, I'm going to court." And like he like came up with this whole. He
The
came up with
cop's
the
like,
whole
"All
like.
right, we got one of these."
We got a live one here. But so like he came up with all this like stop like a stop I don't know progression thing. Like if he were to slam on his brakes, like what would it do physically? And like how long would he have to have stopped?
I really
You're
respect this effort.
No, but how like if you were going 45 miles an hour, how long would you have to have stopped before that to make the light? And then he timed the light from yellow to red on average for like an hour. And then he's like,
Nice.
"Listen, it went from green to yellow to red. It went so fast from when it starts. I was going 45 miles an hour. If I hit the brakes, even if I had slammed on my brakes in my vehicle, the force would have pushed me through into the intersection, which would have been incredibly dangerous." And he got out of the ticket. he totally did. But like
That really makes me happy that happened.
But that took like days and weeks of research.
Not all heroes wear capes.
I know, but that's such a great story. But like, because you're just like the light switched. It's such a fast change. I was going the speed limit. It's like that's insane. This light is not timed right. So what do you want me to do? And judge let him off. It's crazy. It does work. The system works.
There you go.
Barely. No, it doesn't. But whatever. So yeah, and someone else was telling me something. They had a ticket and they went and they were supposed to go, and the cop never showed, so they just let him go. I was like, wow.
I saw a meme the other day. I think it was about like what's the most petty thing you've ever done or whatever, and it was like this girl was like, I got pulled over by a cop. I got a ticket, so I looked up the cop's name and found out that he had a pregnant wife, and I figured out what her due date was, and I requested that the court date be that same day.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So the cop wouldn't show up for court.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It's using the old noggin.
Hey, that's what it's there for. Luckily, she was pregnant. Yeah,
Well,
I haven't. Had
when
any
you
luck.
have a legal system that's based on absolutely no evidence,
Right.
that's what happens, right? In an ideal world, people giving people traffic citations would have some sort of like documented evidence and stuff like that, like some
Well,
sort
yeah,
of thing
like-
that's not based on just like personal opinion.
I drove the last time I got a ticket. It was from rolling 2 stop signs, not going through them, and not like because I purposely went through them. It's because it was this windy little neighborhood with not like regular intersections. They're like
Yeah.
sideways intersections, and the stop signs were behind trees and foliage. Like I didn't even see them. I was going it was like a 25-mile-an-hour zone.
Yeah.
I just thought I was in a neighborhood, and I finally get pulled over. I was like, "What the hell am I getting pulled over?" He's like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" I was like, "Actually, no. I'm not even lying to you. I legitimately have no idea." He's like, "You ran 2 stop signs." I was like, "Where?" He's like, "Back there." I was like, I didn't see him." He's like, I'll grant you the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to give you 2 tickets. I'll just give you 1. I was like, "Oh, thank you, sir. That's great. I appreciate that." So I went and drove back through. They're all behind bushes, or at least partially behind bushes. I was just like, "Oh, fuck that." So I mean, I wasn't gonna like go argue about that. I don't have time for that crap. So again, I think
I would
have.
I would have immediately taken pictures of the obscured stop signs.
Yeah, you're right. I probably should have done it, but like, it's whatever. It's time and effort at that point.
Regular people who have jobs and things, they don't have time to sit there and argue. That's what they plan on.
It's funny. My dad definitely had a job. I don't know what he was doing. So
Well,
whatever. No. When you're possessed with a certain amount of urgency,
I really respect that. I mean, sometimes that level of pettiness is a problem, but sometimes I just really like it. And I wouldn't do that because I just don't have time, but like I'm glad that somebody did.
But if it's a fair argument, I mean, like, and that is a fair argument. Be like, listen, it was green. it went yellow red immediately, and I could have never stopped. And so it's just like it's a bad stoplight, man. You guys
I
got to
mean, look, that's
recalibrate
just
that
the
thing.
tip of the iceberg. I bet you, if you get
Oh,
some
I'm
sleuth
sure.
on the case, there's some sort of dude who's like, hey, look, here's the deal. If we want to fix this road, we need to increase our revenue by 15%. All right. One way we do that, we change the yellow timers. Okay, over a course 4-month period, we're going to, somebody's got a chart somewhere that figured out if they change that timer, it goes all the way to the top.
Those little strips that count your wheels and stuff. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, every intersection has a camera now. Not every, but like most major thoroughfares have cameras and stuff, and they know what's going on. They can time all that crap. It's not a freaking secret.
Yeah.
It's a racket. I mean, it's totally a racket because as soon as you get a ticket, literally the next possible mail day, you have 8,000 solicitations
Right.
from lawyers. It is such a freaking scam. And I understand it's public information and all that stuff.
The
but it's
traffic
so
ticket
shitty.
industrial complex.
It's disgusting. It's big ticket, big lawyer. I'm complaining about lawyers. No one's ever done that before. So yeah, we're breaking.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on lawyers.
Oh, jeez.
They're all a bunch
never
of
had
sharks.
What's that movie? It's the Shawshank Redemption. You're like, oh, you can he's like got him over the ledge. He's like, no, you can give that money to your wife. Like, just don't wear him out. Until he's like, talk to any lawyer. I'm sure you would do that. He's like dirty ball washing bastards or something like that.
Good old Clancy Brown. I love it. I need to watch
Yeah.
that movie again.
Yeah, that's
What a
that's a
classic.
great movie. Yeah, I started watching that, or it's on. I think it's on Netflix or Hulu right now. It's free somewhere.
Ooh.
If you have one of those two, so
check that before it leaves.
yeah, I remember starting to watch that movie on like TNT because they played it on TNT forever for like the longest time.
Yeah.
I had never seen it.
Well, it's
And
a good it's a good TV movie because it's very episodic. So you can like
That's very
walk
true.
through while you're doing laundry, be like, oh, this is the part where they paint the roof and they drink beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good
but
point.
it's like chapters in a book,
Yeah, that's really fair. It really is.
kind of
Well,
like a
I remember-
Christmas story.
That's true. I
Yeah.
started watching it though, and then I had to go to work, and I was like, "Oh, this sucks." I'm really wrapped up in this movie that I started watching at 8 a.m. and I'm drinking coffee. And I had to go to work at like 9. I was like, "This is stupid." And then, like I finally caught it again later, and then watched it like a third time. I was like, "I'm just gonna rent this movie. This seems worth it to me." But yeah, I love the Shawshank Redemption. It's my jam.
Yeah, it's a solid one.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Me neither. I mean, I'll keep talking, but like I don't have anything else. I didn't have any thoughts for any other crap here.
Yeah, not really.
How's it feel to be 39?
Uh,
The same.
yeah, pretty much the same.
It is. It definitely is. Nothing changes.
Same good stuff, same bad stuff. You know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I got. It's hot. in
Get
here.
busy living or get busy dying.
Get busy living. Yep. Get busy dying. Well, I guess we can call it a night. Well, early one. It's not even an hour. But
Only 58 minutes.
hey, we had a couple comments. But
I wish I could tell you that Dave and Dan continued to talk into the wee hours of the morning. I wish I could tell you that.
But podcasting is no fairy tale world.
You want Rita Hayworth? I'm sorry, I haven't got her stuff down the front of my pants right now. I'm sorry to say, but
Yeah, that's great. That's a good line.
wait,
in the
did
movie.
that movie start the Morgan Freeman narration thing? No, because I feel like that's the quintessential like Morgan Freeman
quintessential for sure.
voiceover. Was that the first movie that did it, or was it like
Maybe.
Driving Miss Daisy or something? Or
he
was
was- did
he in Glory? Maybe that did that.
He was in Glory. Did he do voiceover in Glory?
I feel like if you hire Morgan Freeman for a movie and he doesn't narrate at some point, like what are you even doing?
In narrator movies. I don't know. Here we go. Oh, come on. Get out of here with all these. Damn it. These are just Morgan Freeman movies.
You're
here
probably
we go.
wondering what the first movie I narrated was.
Let's see. We got The Civil War, a documentary. True Story of Glory. It's just him talking about glory. Shawshank Redemption, The Promised Land, TV. The first major movie is The Shawshank Redemption. Everything
we
else
go.
is miniseries and shorts, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm sure there's other ones later. $1 Million Baby. I don't know.
War of the
Whatever.
Worlds.
Is that on here?
Might be uncredited.
Maybe. He didn't want anyone to know.
I think that
him.
was like a Family Guy joke at one point. He's like, hey, all we got on the TV is the Morgan Freeman narration channel. And he gets on there and he's like, hello, this is Morgan Freeman, and you're listening to the sound of my voice.
Oh yeah,
This is me speaking.
Like, I think that movie came out like one of the biggest blockbuster movies summers ever.
94?
Yeah, when did it come out? Yeah, 94.
Yeah, you got like Independence Day.
Competition film was Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump. Why was Shawshank a flop? That's not right. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, that year, but I think it came out like right around that time too. Green Mile.
That's back
No,
when people.
That's not right. That's not
Green
it.
Mile was
That's
a lot
not-
later.
That is a lot later.
This is back when people watched the Oscars. Just to point
Aha.
out.
Yeah, I guess so. Either way,
Like,
it's just
people
funny.
of our people of our generation are still pissed off that Saving Private Ryan lost to Shakespeare in Love. Like, I don't even know what won Best Picture. Nobody's thinking about that stuff anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't Best Picture like movie this year. Again, because I saw the news coverage. It was like a movie with an all deaf cast. I
Maybe.
think that's what won.
I don't know.
think that's what won. Yeah, which whatever. That's impressive for a movie. Doesn't mean it's a good movie, but I mean, you made a movie that people watch where everyone's deaf and they're all doing sign language. So that's cool. But
Was it A Quiet Place 3?
it's just John Krasinski.
In a bizarre turn of events, A Quiet Place 3 hires all deaf cast members. And it's like there's awards buzz surrounding the movie here, Tom. And he's come a long way from The Office. And yeah.
I like those movies. Those are good. Well, actually, I haven't seen the second one.
I didn't see the second one. The first one was great.
The first one was good. So the second one's probably not as good. But
Emily
whatever.
Blunt is a national treasure.
They're married, right?
Yes.
Aren't they married? Yep. Okay.
Yeah. No, she's
What
just
else?
amazing.
What else has she been in?
Well, she was Mary Poppins, and that was crazy.
The remake? I
Yeah, like a reboot of Mary Poppins. She was amazing in that. And she was in Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, with the one Live, Die, Repeat, where that's a great movie. You should check that out.
What is it?
Okay.
What is it?
It's like, how old's Gabe
Edge
now?
of 9.
Okay, maybe give him a year. But
You say Edge of Tomorrow? Okay. Yep. Okay.
well, it had
Tom
two
Cruise.
names. So it was a movie where it's in the future. There's like an alien invasion, and
Ooh.
so what happens is he's like a regular, he's not a soldier. He gets sent to the war, and he immediately dies. And then, for some reason, as soon as he dies, he wakes up, and it's like 2 days earlier. He's like, wait a minute, what's happening? He keeps living. It's like Groundhog Day, but in a war.
Oh,
But then he starts to memorize where all the aliens are. So he could become. So it's this crazy thing where he has this weird gift where he can he keeps reliving the same day. So he becomes this war hero. And he meets and Emily Blunt shows up, and she's this crazy badass soldier who previously had the same gift, and so they team up, and then they kind of eventually fall in love. It's really cool.
Does he keep reliving the same 2 days, or
He relives the same thing until he dies.
Until he
in
dies.
which case he goes back to the beginning right before the battle.
So that could be days, it could be years, and then he goes back to the same time.
He's trying to figure. They're trying to figure out how to defeat these aliens because otherwise the humanity's about to be extinct. Takes place in Europe. It's really cool.
Okay.
It was underappreciated when it came out, but I think the original title was Edge of Tomorrow, and then they changed it for some reason to Live, Die, Repeat.
Live, Die, Repeat. Yeah, I see it both ways. You know, man, I have such a...
Bill Paxton is also in it as a drill
Bill
sergeant,
Paxton is in it. I see that.
and that's one of the best parts of it. He's great. Hey, y'all down there, knock off the grab ass. That kind of stuff. It's really fun.
I have a real mental block about Tom Cruise movies. I don't know why. I don't hate Tom Cruise, but I feel like I don't like his movies. And I don't know what that is. And it's not even I can't even articulate it at all.
See, I'm the opposite. I think he's nuts as a person, but his movies are never bad because he didn't care. He's been in bad movies, but it's never because he's always giving 110%.
Right.
And I respect that about him. Like
Yeah,
Sting,
that's
the
fine.
music he's made over the years. I don't really
I
listen
don't
to
listen.
it, but
I
the
never
fact that he's
listened to
making
it.
it, I respect.
I respect it. Exactly what I was gonna do. Yeah, I know. I like everyone. I know everyone says this. There's like a bunch of awesome Mission Impossible movies. I was just like, after every time a Mission Impossible movie came out, I was like, this is fucking. How long are they gonna do this? How long?
They're
It's like
still
Fast and the
good.
Furious.
The
Well,
last one
sure.
was one of the best ones. He fought Superman, Henry Cavill,
All right. Well, then I got.
and there was a helicopter fall. Oh, it was really cool. But it's on. It's all like practical. It doesn't. It's not like this. Remember, because Mission Impossible 2 was dumb, right?
Okay,
Where it's like
thank you.
John
Good.
Woo in a slow motion. There are motorcycles everywhere.
Yeah.
But in the recent ones, they've gone for a much more of like a Jason Bourne kind of feel, where the action feels like real. You know what I mean? Like people getting punched and like car chases where cars are getting thrown against walls and stuff.
All right. Well,
So it
maybe
feels-
I'll give him one of those
they're
times.
fun.
If I start going through like I got to sit down and watch them with somebody, and like maybe that's part of it too, because like Sally's not really an action movie person. I'm not gonna sit there and watch the whole
Fair
Mission
enough.
Impossible thing. Maybe me and Gabe can do that as he gets a little older. I don't know. I just again, it's not all. It's again, I got nothing against Tom Cruise. I'm just like, I don't feel
Yeah.
it. I'm not feeling it.
Rain
can't even
Man's
think-
good. Did you ever see Rain Man?
No, in fact, I was just thinking about that the other day too.
That's a
I've
good
never,
movie.
I've never actually because I was watching The Simpsons and they made a Rain Man. I was like, I've never seen Rain Man. How have I never seen this movie?
Tom Cruise is great in that movie.
I've never seen Cocktail.
I've never seen that one. His early, I've never seen Risky Business. Some of those early ones I never saw. But
I
like,
think I've seen Risky Business, but like, I don't know, whatever. Like Days of Thunder. I like Days of Thunder. Top Gun's
Days of
great.
Thunder is good. Actually, I think
Yeah.
Days of Thunder is better than Top Gun, even though they're basically the same movie.
That's fair. I like Days of Thunder. That's a really good movie. But whatever, dude. Again, I'm not anti Tom Cruise. My gut thing is always just like, I'm ambivalent. So I'll give him a shot.
Yeah.
Hey, we made it over an hour.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise be praised. Scientology be praised, or whatever.
Remember we did that video where Joe was Tom Cruise's brother Frank,
Frank Cruise.
and he comes in there with the glasses. He's like,
I saw something, a really funny GIF meme thing, which is like, well, the Will Smith breakdown is as bad as the Tom Cruise, or maybe worse. And then they showed Tom Cruise jumping on the couch with Oprah, and then like gave him the Emperor Palpatine like lasers out of his hands. It was like Oprah's like shaking as he's doing it. If I find that, I'll send it to you. It was hilarious. He was just like, I was like, that was nuts. Oh, Katie Holmes, where are you now?
she's probably hiding,
Yeah, she's in hiding. Yeah, those
living
Scientology
living
people
off
are-
that Batman Dawson's Creek money, trying to avoid getting in the spotlight.
Yeah, because I'm sure she's not getting Tom Cruise money. Well, they got kids, so she's probably getting Tom Cruise money. There's not a prenup in the world.
She better have a good lawyer.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's no way you can have a bunch of kids with somebody and then split up, and you're Tom Cruise and you can't pay for it. There's no. You think there's a court in the land that would be like, no, Tom Cruise,
I
you
don't
can
know.
afford to pony up.
I mean,
I do.
I don't
I
know,
do.
but there's nothing in the world. There's no force in the world more powerful than divorce lawyers. But there's
Fair
also Scientology lawyers, and that's a whole different brand of Illuminati. So
That's true. She might have signed some.
that's
crazy
an
Scientology thing.
immovable force and an unstoppable object, or whatever it is.
Isn't that weird? How like that church has all sorts of, and they're like far largely above criticism. Like people make fun of them, but like not like public overall cultural scorn.
Yeah,
And they're like seemingly pretty weird
they're hooked in.
and like very controlling and manipulative, and but I mean, again, whatever. That's what you're doing. You signed up for it, but
Yeah, it's
it's not
weird.
great. It is weird. All right, we should go.
All right.
Peace. They even got Isaac Hayes, man. Chef from South Park. they really ruined it. They ruined it for
I
everybody.
forgot about that. That's funny.
That was a long time ago. All right.